Each of us seeks a certain status, according to the rules, customs and traditions of the society. However, this pursuit often turns into chronic anxiety about losing this social status, which turns our lives into hell. In this context, Alain de Botton's book Status Anxiety comes to show us some aspects of this anxiety, and explains the reasons for that and the factors affecting the society's view of the status, and the eternal fear of descending to a lower status than what society considers as a cause for pride and honor. Status Anxiety by Alain de Botton. Lovelessness. This means that the main motive behind our desire to improve our social status may not only be related to our material things, but it is also related to the love of others that we are looking for, which is a result of our high status. Snobbery. In many cases, our fear of not being loved is compounded by the presence of snobs in society, because with them we feel our low status. This makes us more motivated to be like them, to imitate their behavior, and to practice some of their behaviors that are mixed with bullying and snobbery. Expectation. A person feels his high status as long as he aspires to achieve his goals. In the end, expectation is the feeling of the desire of success in all life endeavors. Our self-esteem depends on what we can achieve. When we have great expectations, we feel more humiliated when we fail to achieve these expectations. Meritocracy. Improving our social status is a very hard thing, whether socially or psychologically. For example, there is a lack of equality while dealing with poverty, as the impact of poverty on a person's self-esteem depends to a large extent on the society's view of the poor, and the reasons for his poverty. Bit to remember, our status anxiety comes from a number of reasons that draws the attention of the society. As many modern philosophers, de Botton believes that the problem of social status, and how people see it, can be changed through the role of philosophy in providing a theoretical solution to this problem, and correcting the perception of oneself, as the human being is one of the manifestations of this glorious system of the universe as defined by the Stoic philosophy. In order not to fall into the chronic feeling of having a low social status, our feeling of inferiority and ineffectiveness, we must free ourselves. As the society's perception is just like the hell that we live in every single moment, so we should give up some of our concerns towards it, and stop seeking to please the society every single moment in our life. It is true that we live with others and interact with them. That's why we can say that pleasing others by our actions or sayings is very important in two different aspects. Physically, because the society's neglect for us can bring physical hardships, and psychologically because it has been proven that it is impossible to keep our self-esteem if others stop respecting us. That is why the advice of philosophers to us is to follow the internal signs of our awareness and consciences, and stop waiting for the external signs of approval or pleasure. Bit to remember, philosophy can make status anxiety disappear if a person stops pleasing others. What are the benefits of art? A question that was raised in multiple ways and in different times. And those who ask this question are probably the ones who underestimate the value of art, and its ability to refine tastes and fix the aesthetic sense of societies. All these people who were trying to underestimate art were always trying to search for justifications that they spread and consider them sufficient to remove this expected role. But what matters more in this context is that a person is a complex phenomenon, and it should not be dealt with only in its unilateral dimension, because life is a phenomenon that needs criticism, and because humans are psychologically fragile beings, and are subject to risks, fears and anxiety, so art may be the savior in a time when no savior exists after all human manifestations disappeared from our modern world. All forms of art, such as literature, cinema and music, can be a means that explains our human condition with its tricks and own ways, and through the tendency to lightness or balance of mind, and it may also be a guide towards understanding the modern world in a clearer and truer way. Bit to remember, art is a way to interpret our human condition with its tricks and own ways. Each society selects a group of people and puts them at the top of the social order, and creates myths of success and superiority out of them. On the other hand, the society chooses other models and makes them an example of social decline and low status in society. These standards made by the society may be based on a person's image, his way of speaking and pronouncing, or because of his competence, temperament, or skin color. But the most important thing about these criteria is the difference between one society and another, which makes them arbitrary and subjective criteria for measuring failure and success. Characteristics and capabilities do not remain the same if the social status changed, and do not remain constant if the places and eras changed, but rather they become repulsive and undesirable in other places and eras. For example, in the ancient Spartan society, the most respected and appreciated people were strong men with muscles and strong bodies. But in Western Europe in the 11th century AD, the most respected people were those who followed and obeyed the teachings of Christ. While in England in the 19th century, the mastery of dance became a matter of respect and appreciation. Bit to remember, in the political perspective of social status, there is a great difference in the criteria for success and appreciation.